July is a month dedicated to raising awareness about the mental health challenges faced by Black, Indigenous, and people of color. Joining me in the studio to help shine a light on BIPOC mental health and the need for awareness, support, and action is mental health professional Kalissa Ngazi. Kalissa, why is it important to recognize National BIPOC Mental Health Awareness Month?
Well, first of all, I'm glad we have a month to celebrate it, but really it's 365 days a year that we should be talking about it. It's important because we have kids, we have young people who are seeing how we react in terms of mental health, and if it's not in a healthy way, then how are we providing support for them? So it starts really from the top.
Exactly. So with it being BIPOC Mental Health Awareness Month, can you talk about the stigmatization with these communities?
Absolutely. You know, statistically speaking, people that are members of the BIPOC community are not accessing mental health services as they should. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One is lack of access. So whether in a community that maybe doesn't have BIPOC mental health professionals or any professionals in that matter, you know, generationally speaking, if they suffer from some form of trauma, they don't want to talk about it. So there's this stigma that you are not emotionally available or mature, you know, if you are too excited or if you're sad or if you're mad. So it's trying to work through these feelings and emotions in a healthy way so that our kids can also work through them too.
It's so important to have that representation in the mental health field. And you have an example that you can talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Being a professor at Mohawk College, you know, it's great being at the front of the classroom. I love teaching. I love meeting the next generation. But when I have students that approach me after class and they say, "Professor, I just want to tell you that seeing someone that looks like me at the front of the classroom, I didn't think could happen." And I mean, it's an honor, but it also makes me shake my head a little bit. What are we doing? Why aren't we having more people that are BIPOC, so Black, Indigenous, people of color that are professional, that are holding these titles in these positions?
They can relate, they see it, they feel comfortable, and that's why we need that representation. Why is it also okay to let the BIPOC community know that it's okay to embrace their journey and okay to go get help?
Well, part of the generational trauma piece is that our grandparents and our parents don't like to show emotion, whether it's male or female. And really, in 2024, we're trying to shatter that stigma and say, it's okay to not be okay. And that's a great saying, but then what are the next steps? What are you gonna do in order to help heal yourself and heal your situation? And really, it's about accessing mental health services. And a lot of times for these communities, they don't want to if it's not someone that they don't feel like they can relate to. So whether it's a Black therapist, whether it's an Indigenous therapist, you know, we need to be having these conversations about improving access to post-secondary education so that these individuals in these communities can become what they're seeing.
July is BIPOC Mental Health Awareness Month, but as you said earlier, it should be 365 days a year. How can people become allies to the BIPOC community?
Well, I think recognizing that there is that stigma and not just shoving it under the rug and saying, you know, I know that you're Black, I know that you're Indigenous, I know that you're a person of color, but there's that added layer of stress and that added layer of trauma that someone that doesn't come from that community might not understand. So I think the biggest takeaway is to empathize with the situation. And if you know someone that's in that community that is a psychiatrist, a psychotherapist, you know, a counselor, then reach out to them. And if they have an opening per se, you know, let the community know that there is help for you with someone that you're comfortable with.
What would you say is the biggest misconception about the BIPOC community?
I think that we're not as educated as regular communities, which just isn't true. I mean, Canada is a complete melting pot. Niagara is a melting pot of all different cultures. We have Black, we have white, we have Asian, we have Puerto Rican, we have everyone. And I think the more that we're seeing that, we're seeing cross-cultural families as well. Education is an important piece, but we need to be able to access education and those support systems.
What do you want people to know about the BIPOC community and July being BIPOC Mental Health Awareness Month?
I think just be aware of it, but also embrace it, right? Learn more about different cultures, especially if you're in the field professionally speaking. If you're going to be counseling people that are from these communities that you aren't familiar with, then I think being respectful and understanding and empathetic is going to go really far at helping them feel like they matter.
Thank you so much, Kalissa, for joining us in the studio today.